Welcome to the tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll see how to select HTML elements with classes and IDs. So let's get started. Here I have a simple heading, that's an H1, and this is my HTML, index.html and main.css, and I've linked both of them. Here's our title and a few meta tags which you don't have to worry about. In our body, I have this H1 I had mentioned, and I've got 3 divs, okay? Now I'm gonna select those divs, and I should mention that I have done text line center so it looks a bit better. So now I can select those divs, give them height 100 pixels, width 100 pixels, and I'll give it a background color of aquamarine. I'll save it, and yes, these are our divs, but we just see one div. Actually, it's not one div, it is 3 divs stacked on top of one another. So just to make it clear, I'll just give it a border 1 pixel solid black. I'll save it. So now you can see these are our 3 divs. Now I'll show you how you can use classes and IDs to select them and give them special properties. Like if you just use elements, that is div, body and everything, to select, then it becomes quite general. You cannot select a specific div. So imagine the first div makes something of a header. Even though you should not use divs, you should use some semantic tags like headers. But just as an example, I will be showing you. Suppose the first div means our header, and the second and the third div are our content divs. So I'll give them a class of content, and I'll save it. Now since I've given them a class of content, I can go to main.css and do something like this, dot content, and I can change any of their properties. So I can give them a background color of something like brown. I'll save it, and now you'll see these 2 divs have become brown. But first we had said that they were aquamarine and now they are brown. So what's the logic here? Actually, this class selection makes them more specific. Okay, so this div body, body has more specificity of course, but this div is less specific than this dot content, because div can be a general div, any div on your document, whereas the dot content means any div that has a content class. So since this is more specific, this overrides the aquamarine we had declared. Okay, so now something more specific is an ID. Now if you think about it, an ID is something which addresses an element by a name. I mean an ID is unique, that's it. So if you give an ID to the third one, I'll call the ID third and I'll save it. Now you can select the third div and give it a different color, and I'm just showing you with a color, but you can do you can change any of these properties. So that's very convenient and that's awesome. Now to select anything with an ID, what you do is simply give a hash, and then that's a hashtag over there, and then you give it the name of the ID third. Now since this is more specific, since IDs are unique, I mean they are supposed to be unique, you can just give this a class an ID of third as well, and that will work, but they are supposed to be unique and you should follow those rules. Now I can give it a background color of something like green. I'll save it, and now you can see it becomes green. So first of all, we gave a background color of aquamarine to all of those 3. Then I gave a background color of brown to the dot content one, that's the second and the third div, and then I selected the third div and gave it a green like color. I don't know how to pronounce this. That's chartreuse or something. Anyways, so what this tells you is that this div is the least specific, and as you go down the specificity increases, and whenever you want to select anything more specific than an element like div, like if you don't want to select all of those divs, then you can use a class or an ID. And classes are supposed to be multiple. They can be even, you can just remove this class and then it will be only the one div with this class, but that's very much possible. You can just remove this class, then this is one class, one ID, doesn't matter. You can just have any number of classes, any number of IDs, but you have to remember that classes are supposed to be multiple and IDs are supposed to be something unique, okay? Or else it will give you an error in your browser console. So I'll save it and I'll show you. So this is what we are supposed to get since I removed this class from here. So I hope you get it, and that was it for this video. I hope you learned something new. Bye.